Hi, we're going to make creme brulee, and it's really very simple. It takes 5 ingredients that you probably already have in your kitchen. Don't be intimidated by the process. That's why we're going to have video to walk you through it. I'm going to start with 2 cups of heavy cream. So there goes 1, and here's our second. So 2 cups of heavy cream. Now I'm using heavy cream, not heavy whipping cream. The distinction is that heavy whipping cream actually has less milk fat. And I spilled a little on the edge when I was pouring it. Okay, heavy whipping cream has 30 to 32% milk fat. Heavy cream has 36% milk fat. So that's why I use heavy cream when I can. I've got it on a fairly low heat and we want it to simmer. We're actually going to let it come to a boil. So keep an eye on it. And I've got a spoon so that we can stir it from time to time. You don't want it to scald, but it needs to come to a good simmer. So while our heavy cream is simmering, I'm going to come over here with the eggs. Now, I've already separated out 5 eggs, and it really is so simple. If I can do this, anyone can. I crack it open, kind of toggle the yolk back and forth, let the white fall in here, throw my yolk in there, and set the whites aside. We're going to make a yummy souffle with that later. But we're going to start with our egg yolks. Now these are out, they're roughly room temperature. You don't have to worry about it. You don't want them just straight from the fridge, but they're gonna have plenty of time to warm up while our cream is coming to a boil. What we're gonna add to this is 1/3 cup of sweetener. Now I'm using powdered sweetener. This is Sukrin Melis, which I love the Sukrin products, but you can take your preferred granulated sweetener and get all of it out and put it through a blender to make it powdered. So we're going to, and I'm using, you don't have to probably use powdered. What I like about the powdered is we know it won't be gritty. And so I like to use that when I can. So mix that 1/3 cup with my 5 yolks. I'm going to add salt, and this is 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm using a whole teaspoon of vanilla. Now you can use a vanilla bean if you're getting fancy. Those can be hard to find and are really expensive where we are. So I tend to just use a teaspoon of good vanilla extract. Make sure your extract doesn't have sugar in it. And I try to buy extracts without propylene glycol. So I'm gonna whip this up. Now I'm just stirring till it's thickened. And I wanna make sure all that sweetener is dissolved. And it just has to be whipped up. You could do it with a hand mixer, but really a whisk is going to be good enough. And you can see the consistency there. Just creamy and smooth as you can get it. Gives you a nice arm workout while you're waiting for the cream to boil. The cream is gonna take a little while. I can turn it up a little bit in heat, but it may take as long as 3 to 5 minutes to actually come to a boil. Those are all of our ingredients. So yeah, I can see that's pretty smooth. If you whip it really good, it might get a little frothy on top, but I'm not that fast. Okay, let me keep an eye on this. Now, I've got some water boiling on the stove because what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna have to probably stop in just a minute, I'm gonna bring this to a boil, and as it comes to a boil, it simply thickens. Then it's going to be too hot to add to my yolk mixture. What I'm gonna have to do is pour it in a little at a time and whisk so that it doesn't cook the eggs. So this comes to a boil, so it thickens up. We set it aside to cool. We pour a little at a time into our egg yolk mixture, whisking as we go. And then we've got our ramekins. Now I need to measure these. I believe that these are just 4-inch ramekins. I meant to measure them anytime I will. And this will make, this will serve 4. So we're gonna fill that up and put it in the oven to bake at 325 degrees. What the directions say with any time you're making a creme brulee is to put the ramekins in a pan like this and fill up to about an inch of boiling water. The water needs to be boiling when you put it in. Put this in the oven at 325 for anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes or until it's set. Take it out of the oven, you let it cool, you refrigerate it for close to an hour or more. Some say it's best to do overnight. When you pull it out of the fridge, you put sweetener on it, and we're not going to use sugar, put it back in the oven under broil to get that nice crisp topping. I've got a couple tricks up my sleeve that we're going to try to get that nice crisp topping without real sugar. I'm also going to go a little rogue, and instead of putting all 4 ramekins in a water bath, we're going to do 2 in a water bath and 2 just plain in the oven, so we can see if that boiling hot water really makes a difference. So this is not quite to a boil, but it's starting to bubble. Let's pause for just a bit, and then we'll come back once this has boiled and then cooled, and we can add it to our egg yolk mixture. Okay, so our cream boiled, and I set it aside so it could cool just a little bit, and our yolks are whisked with our sweetener. So I'm going to put like just a little bit of this at a time in with the yolks. And technically, I think what I'm supposed to do is put a little of the cream in the yolks and then put the yolk cream mixture together. It's still really hot. I don't know if you can see the steam coming off of it. Put a little bit more. Again, I don't want it to get too hot and cook my eggs. That would be really embarrassing. And basically you're making a custard. I'm making a mess. But basically we're making a custard and then letting it bake. So that's all there is to it. Interestingly, the best things have that egg base. The custard ice cream that we make, the key lime pie from my first cookbook. I find myself starting with eggs and heavy cream for a lot of really, really rich desserts. All right, and I'm just adding a little at a time and whisking. Now you see how hard this is. Don't let it be intimidating to you. 5 egg yolks. If you can separate eggs, then you can do this. If you can separate eggs and boil cream, then you can do this. Now it's getting a little frothy, and it's going to do that. Some people who are really, you know, I'm like really all about texture. Some people who are really about texture will take this and pour it through a strainer so that the bubbles are not in the custard. I've never done that. Maybe I should. Maybe I should get fancier like that. We can do that if you prefer, but that's not my plan. And I didn't even measure those custard cups yet again. Almost there, and it's just a little warm, but certainly I'm not getting scrambled eggs, so that's a good thing. I'm using our red ramekins just because I think it's so pretty. I also have a set of white ones that we can use. You know, I actually picked these up. The ramekins I picked up at, I think Michael's for $1 or something, so they were not expensive at all. Now remember, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do with 2 of these. So this makes 4. I'm going to put them into the ramekin in another pan. I've got water boiling so I can fill it about an inch of the way up and put it in the oven that way to bake at 325. And these, I'm just gonna sit directly on the oven rack without a water bath. And these are 3.5 inches wide ramekins. So David actually got out the tape and measured those for me. They have an inner rim. I don't know if you can see them on the video, but I'm just filling up to that rim. See, there's a little inside rim, so I'm going just to that rim. I went a little over on that one. Whoops. And I'll stop to make sure I get this one. Just divide it evenly among the 4 ramekins. Yeah, I went over on one, under on that one. It doesn't matter except baking time. Okay, so there are the ramekins. I've got the oven preheated. My oven is at 325, and I will put this, I'll wait until I put this in the oven, and then I'll pour the I'll pour the boiling water in the side of it so it has a water bath, and these little guys will go straight into the oven. 35 to 45 minutes until they're set out of the oven into the fridge. All right, we're back and our creme brulees are ready. They're gorgeous. These 2 were in the water bath, And these two were not. And honestly, I can't tell much of a difference just eyeballing them. Yeah, I can't tell much of a difference. So maybe when we cut into them. Now, this is the stage where we've taken them from the fridge. They've been in the fridge for several hours. And we're going to put them in the oven on broil and try and get this caramel top on them. Now, some people use a torch and they simply put the sweetener over and they hold a torch. I don't have a torch. The best I have is a Bic lighter, one of those long ones that you light candles or the fire with. So I'm going to use the broiler. Now, to try and get it caramelized, I'm going to use Sukrin Gold on this one. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit. That's probably, I don't know, a teaspoon or so of Surkin Gold on this one. And I'm going to put it in the oven straight like this so we'll know which is which. And this is this one was in the water bath. I'm going to use Sukrin 1. This is a blend of erythritol and stevia. So this is what I would typically use, and probably what most of you will use is some kind of erythritol blend. Just going to sprinkle it over top. It's hard to get that caramelized kind of flavor with alternative sweeteners. And so I'm going to try it with this. I could also use xylitol, but we don't tend to keep that in the house because of the toxicity for dogs. Well, I just about made a really big mess right there. And then I'm going to use allulose. Now, allulose was sent to me by a subscriber who wanted me to give it a try. And I've heard rave reviews about allulose. I've heard that it caramelizes like sugar. I have not tried it. I've not tested my blood glucose with it. Actually, I did put some in coffee. I did try it. I did not test my blood glucose. It is not as sweet as other sweeteners, or I don't believe that it is, just testing it. But I'm going to use it because one of the properties that it is purported to have is that it does caramelize more like real sugar. So let me put these in the oven, got it on broil, and we'll see. I'm going to put it in until it's just like caramelly or just like toasted and roasted. And you want to do it on broil because you don't want to heat the bottom part up. You just want to get that crisp layer on the top. So when the creme brulee is done, everybody comes to the kitchen, right? This is our creme brulee. Ooh, it has like a little topping on it. This is the creme brulee that I did in water bath. Ooh, and that has the sucrin on it. Doesn't that look great? Mmm. It's buttery. You want to try it, Jonathan? It's really good. That did not get a water bath. Oh, you're going to get the crisp topping off.
Wait, what's the best part of it? The bottom or the
top?
Everybody
thinks like creme brulee.
Isn't that like creme brulee? This is the brown sugar.
Wait, which one do you think I would like?
That one. That's good, the brown sugar. The Sukrin brown is the way to go. That is fantastic. What do you think? This is the allulose.
You know, I'm liking the allulose better than the Surkin brown.
Are you really? I'm liking the Surkin Gold. That does have a bit of caramel. I'm also trying to figure out if the texture is different from the water bath. That's no water bath. This is water bath.
Different. The water bath has a different texture.
The water bath is better. Who knew all these years?
Wow, that's delicious.
Which is your favorite?
I think I like the Surkin Gold.
I think he likes the Sukrin Gold. Water bath definitely makes a difference. This one with the plain Sukrin isn't bad. It's just, it's more custardy. It's more eggy. That is creamy and rich.
It
is like
gelatin.
Yeah, this one is a lot more creamy
It's
than
like
that
really
one.
watery gelatin.
Okay, you didn't care for it. No, Jonathan's not a creme brulee fan. And then this one with the allulose, it doesn't have that crispy on it. You like it?
I'm not a fan of the crispy, honestly.
If I had tried a creme brulee before, it probably tastes like a creme brulee, but I haven't before, and I don't like the texture of it.
Not a fan. Well, that's okay. That's good for me. More for us. Jonathan says he hasn't tried creme brulee, so he's not really all that into it. This is rich and buttery. These two are particularly buttery. that with the Sukrin Gold is my favorite, and definitely do the water bath. I hope that if you make this for your family that they enjoy it too.
Bye.